Trafalgar D. Waterlaw versus X. Drake. The clash between Trafalgar D. Waterlaw and X. Drake was one that no one saw coming. On a remote island in the New World, known for its treacherous terrain and unpredictable weather, two powerful figures were about to engage in a battle that would ripple across the seas. The island, a place of towering cliffs, dense forests, and ravines filled with swirling mist, was the perfect backdrop for a confrontation between a former warlord and a former marine turned pirate. Law stood atop a rocky outcrop, the wind tugging at his black and white hat and billowing his long coat. His expression was calm, but his eyes were sharp, focused on the man before him. X. Drake, his hybrid dinosaur form towering over the landscape, snarled, his teeth bared and his eyes gleaming with the promise of battle. "Drake," Law said, his voice steady. "I didn't expect to see you here. What's your game?" Drake, shifting back into his human form, glared at Law. "It's not about games, Law. It's about justice, and you've made yourself a target." Law's lips curled into a smirk. "Justice, huh? You're still clinging to that? Then let's see if you can enforce it." Without warning, Law activated his room, a large translucent sphere expanding around him. "Shambles," he called out, instantly switching places with a nearby boulder, avoiding Drake's sudden charge. Drake, undeterred, transformed back into his Allosaurus form, his massive jaws snapping shut where Law had stood just moments before. His brute strength and speed were formidable, but Law's spatial manipulation made him a difficult target to pin down. Law flicked his sword, Kikoku, creating a distortion in the air as he used tact to levitate the surrounding debris. He hurled it at Drake with lethal precision, but Drake's tough scales deflected the attack. Law then used Scan to assess Drake's weak points, his sharp mind working to find an opening. Drake charged forward, his Allosaurus form granting him incredible speed and power. He used his tail like a whip, smashing through the landscape and sending debris flying towards Law. When in close range, he swung his massive claws, each swipe strong enough to tear through stone. Law dodged and parried, but Drake's relentless assault kept him on the defensive. With a quick flick of his wrist, Law used counter-shock, sending a powerful jolt of electricity through Drake's body, forcing him to momentarily revert to his human form. Drake, however, countered with his own hockey-infused strike, nearly catching Law off guard. Realizing he needed to change the tide of battle, Law activated his most powerful technique, Gamma Knife. The air around them crackled with energy as Law focused his attack on Drake, aiming to destroy him from the inside. He lunged forward, his blade glowing with deadly energy. But Drake, sensing the danger, roared and activated his own haki, hardening his body just in time to withstand the brunt of the attack. Even so, the Gamma Knife caused significant internal damage, forcing Drake to stumble and revert back to his human form, gasping for breath. However, before Law could capitalize on the moment, Drake transformed back into his dinosaur form with renewed vigor. Using a hockey-infused X-cavalry attack, a devastating charge that shattered the ground beneath Law's feet and sent him tumbling into a nearby ravine. Law, battered but not beaten, managed to use Shambles at the last moment to avoid a fatal blow. He reappeared on a ledge above, breathing heavily, his hand clutching his side where Drake's last attack had hit. Drake, now in human form, stood at the edge of the ravine, his expression a mixture of frustration and respect. "You're as tough as they say, Law. But this isn't over." Law smirked, wiping blood from his mouth. "I could say the same to you, but next time, Drake, you won't walk away so easily." With that, the two combatants, both heavily injured, and knowing that continuing the fight could spell mutual destruction, silently agreed to a temporary truce. Law disappeared into the mist, using his powers to retreat and regroup, while Drake watched him go, already planning their next encounter. The battle between Law and ex-Drake would be whispered about across the New World, a clash between two formidable forces with their own ambitions and sense of justice. Both men walked away with a deeper understanding of the other's strength, but also with an unspoken promise that their paths would cross again. The outcome of their next encounter, however, would be far less certain.